Hi, this is Norma Samuel with the University of Florida Institute of Food and Agricultural Sciences, University of Florida IFAS Extension in Sumter County. And today I'm going to be giving you a virtual tour of the Clark Park Community Garden. And some of you may have seen when we planted this garden in the first episode of Let's Talk Gardening. So I just wanted to follow up so I could do a virtual tour for you to see what the garden is looking like. So David Ricks, who you saw in that very first episode of Let's Talk Gardening, he's the one who has been maintaining the garden while the gardeners are not there. And he's been doing an excellent job. So David, I am going to now pin you so that your video will show, and if you could introduce yourself and tell us a little about what you have going on there.
Hi, David Ricks with the City of Wildwood Parks and Rec. I've been managing the community garden during this time. We've planted a few plots and love for you guys to take a look at what we've been doing.
All right, so this first bed that's right in front of us there, David, what do you have there?
Our first bed, we have our bush beans.
Okay, and these are coming along nicely now. At first, the germination was a little spotty, and so you can see we still have a few blank spaces there on the left-hand side of the bed, but they're coming along nicely now. And David, are you seeing any blooms on these yet?
We are finally starting to see blooms. There's one right there.
Okay, fantastic. And so once he started to harvest beans on these, he'll be harvesting every few days, and the more you harvest, the more you're gonna get. So I think these are coming along nicely. All right.
Here we have our cucumbers.
Okay. The cucumbers also were a bit spotty in germination, and it could be a number of things with spotty germination. So it could be that, you know, the seeds were not too viable, so the germination rate is poor. It could also be that they were planted too deep or not getting enough water, but I know they've been, you know, getting good watering. So it might be any of the two other reasons, but I do like how they look now. So they're coming along nicely. The advantage of you having to replant is that they're all at different growth stages. So then that staggers it's going to stagger the length of time that you have fruit. So you'll have cucumbers reaping over a longer period of time. So that's a good thing. All right, if you could move to the next bed.
Our next bed is our squash.
Yes, and these have taken off really, really well. So these are zucchini squash. And on the zucchinis and on cucumbers and pumpkins, these are what we call cucurbits. And on your cucurbit plants, they send out a batch of male flowers first, and then female flowers, and then a mixture of male and female flowers. So David is zooming in for us to see the different types of flowers. So this first flower that you're seeing here, that's a male flower. So you see just the stalk, and then you see the flower, the petals at the top. So you just see a long stalk and the petals. So that's the male flower that has the pollen. Now, if you look in the background there, I'm seeing in the background.
Oh, back there.
Yes, so back there is a female flower. So you can see the little cucumber. So hold the camera steady, David. So right back in the background there, there's a little squash, and then at the top, you could see the unopened flower there, and to the right of it, another male flower that's already closed off. And so you need to have pollen going from the male flowers to the female flowers. Then you have fertilization taking place for that squash to develop into a fruit that you can eat. Sometimes what you have happening is that pollination doesn't take well, fertilization doesn't take place well, and you may have that fruit aborting or just falling off. It could also start to develop, but the tip would be spongy or malformed, and that's because pollination didn't take place well. So there's another female flower and a male flower to the right of it. And of course, you need to have bees to aid in the pollination process. So anytime you're going to have to spray your garden, you want to do it in the early morning or late evening when the bees are not active, so that nothing that you spray would affect the bees. Next crop.
Carrots.
Okay, so here are the carrots. And when you plant carrots, you have to be very patient with these because they take anywhere from 7 to 21 days to germinate. And so we've planted these since around the 17th of March. So they're coming along well. What you'll need to do, David, is thin these out. And that's, you know, what you're actually doing is taking out plants so that there's enough space for each of the roots to develop for those that you have remaining. And so I say thin them out to about 2 inches apart. Now, the thing with carrots, because you're growing them for the top root, when you thin these out, you're not going to replant them, because if that top root is damaged, all you're gonna get is leaf growth and not any carrots. So generally, when you thin out carrots and radishes and beets, you know, you should just discard of what you pull out, because you possibly could have damaged the root, which is what you're aiming for as the crop to eat. Then here we have onions. So the onions are coming along nicely. And on the onions, what I'd say is that if you want to begin to harvest any of these to use as green onions, you can, but these can, you know, we're gonna leave these in here and allow them to develop to become dry onions. So these are looking really nice. Now, this coming weekend for Let's Talk Gardening, we're gonna have an episode on growing onions. So you'll see a lot more details on how to grow onions in that video.
We have our banana peppers.
Wow, so those are coming along really nicely, David. And the last time you showed me those, they were a dark green color. So these sweet banana peppers are now at the point where they can be harvested. Those ones that are a nice lime green color, that's the color that you want to harvest these. And they are excellent in salads. Peppers are one of those plants that can take the heat of summer. So we planted in 2019, we planted mid-March. And all the way down to first frost, we were harvesting peppers and eggplants. And so those are 2 plants that once you plant them, they'll keep on producing all the way to first frost.
And here we have our bell pepper.
Nice. So those are coming along very well too, David. And those are gonna turn, green peppers are going to turn red eventually. You just have to leave them on the plant long enough. Yes, you can harvest them when they're green, but if you wanna have a, you know, other color on your plate, you could let them stay until they turn red. When you go to the grocery store, you can find a single red bell pepper sometimes, depending on the time of year, for $2 or $3. So if you can grow your own, that's wonderful. Now, there are also yellow and purple varieties of bell pepper, and they will start out green and then eventually turn yellow or purple. But the green ones, they will eventually turn red. So if you buy one that just says bell pepper and doesn't specify yellow or purple, it will eventually turn red. All right, so you're moving to the tomatoes.
Yes.
And the tomatoes are looking really nice. And last time we had an issue with hornworm, tomato hornworms. And so are you noticing any issues with hornworms this time around, David?
We haven't, after your instructions of spraying, we haven't seen any around.
Okay. So earlier on, they were having some caterpillars visiting the garden. And so I'd recommended spraying with Bacillus thuringiensis or BT. And that is an excellent product to use to control caterpillars. So here you can see a nice cluster of tomatoes. So that's wonderful. All right. Now you may see the leaves at the bottom are turning yellow, and that's normal. So those are the older leaves that are just turning yellow at the bottom there. All right, so David, what are you planning to do with the food that you harvest from the plot, that you're gonna harvest from the plot, since the gardeners are not coming out to the garden?
We plan on partnering with a couple of churches within the area, within our community. They give away food on a bi-weekly basis. And we're going to harvest these items in the garden and give them to them so they can give away free to the community. Okay,
wonderful. So this is a great service that we've been able to bring to the community. So it's an excellent thing when you can collaborate with other agencies to serve the community, and the City of Wildwood and the University of Florida IFAS Extension. We do appreciate this partnership that we can serve the community. So thank you everyone for joining us. And I'm Norma Samuel. As I said before, I'm based in Sumter County, and David Ricks with the City of Wildwood. And we will come back to you in a few weeks and give you another update of what's happening in the Clark Park Community Garden. Thank you.
Right.